Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today I have with me Major Madhan Kumar, and this is, think of it as a continuation of our talk about what is happening in Balochistan. Many of you may have seen my hangout on the agreement that a Canadian gold company has, Barrick it's called, has signed with the government of Pakistan, and a lot of tremors and rumbles going on, and it is it's going to be a very interesting conversation. Do help me and by liking this video right away, because there is a lot of exclusive content that's coming your way. Major Madan Kumar, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskar sir, Jai Hind.
And Jai Hind to you too. Recently, I became an overseas citizen of India, so I can say with all pride, Jai Hind, because I was holding back because I wanted to do it the right way. It had to mean something, and now I am a proud OCI, overseas citizen of India. I can come to India, I can stay as long as I want. I can go on. Let's talk about you and what you see in Balochistan.
Yes, sir. So we had covered it about the attack on 𝗿𝗏𝗳𝗃 and Panjgur, a very typical classic military operation, a commando-styled operation, which lasted for 3 days, starting from February 3rd to almost February 6th, 72 hours. Two of the main Pakistani military headquarters, the FC's military headquarters, was under siege by 15 of this Masjid Brigade Fidains of the Baluch Liberation Army. As usual, the casualties were downplayed. Pakistan said it is just 4. BLA said it's closed down to 195. So we can hit somewhere in median, because it's definitely not 4. Because they were using drones, they were using helicopter gunships. And if it is just about killing 4 of these BLA people, the operation would have ended in, say, for example, 6 to 8 hours. It doesn't have to go on for 72 hours. So that's background. Now, as we discussed last time, we said this attack is coming after so many years. BLA has really stood up, and on a military perspective, we should really salute their grit and determination. It's not a joke. Of late, I've never seen such a military action even done by a professional army. So they've done that. But the question was sustainability. How long they can sustain this movement? Because Baluchi's population is less than 5% of Pakistan, but their land mass is more than 40% of Pakistan. So they don't have the critical mass actually to break it and then to make it a movement like Mukti Baghini or even LTT. They don't have that mass to it. And a lot of Baluchis have moved out of Balochistan because of mass killings, missing people. So a lot of people have gone on exile in UK, to a lot of other places, the middle class Baluchis. So, but now it seems after a month, we can say, we spoke about this, I think, last month, precisely after a month, good amount of information which is coming up from there seems that the movement is able to sustain, and they are able to keep up the pressure on the Pakistan Army and even the Frontier Corps, the FC. And as usual, the internet has been cut off, the free media is not working there. The only official news about Balochistan comes through ISPR and every other newspaper, even the reputed ones like Dawn, actually mirror and echo the words of ISPR. But with our sources, when we look at what is happening there, all of what I'm saying here has got evidence. It's few of them are there on Twitter, and almost all of them have a solid video information. So the program, we can just share the videos later, but
Yes.
we'll show a sample at the end of the thing. So to start with, because the data is long, I've noted it down. February 6th to 9th, we saw the massive attack on the special operation on 𝗿𝗏𝗳𝗃 and Panjgur, where they claimed around 195 Pakistani personals killed. Pakistan now has officially accepted that one of their major has been killed in that operation. Now coming to February 9th, so there were 3-pronged attack on Zamarun, Sibi, and Mach. All these 3 locations are in Balochistan. So Zamarun, it was a sniper attack by a Baluchi soldier, and they have taken on the Pakistani army. In Sibi, which is one of the hard zone of Baluch, In 𝗵𝗶, they blew up a railway line which connects Pakistan with Balochistan, 𝗵𝗶. And in Match, it's a frontier corps post. They have shelled. It's a tier 2 city in Baloch. Out there, they have pounded them with 82 rockets. It's a mortar attack, so it's like given a kind of a shiver on them. So they haven't disclosed the casualties, but definitely there are few casualties and fatal and non-fatal ones, battle casualties, for sure from the Pakistani side. Now on February 11th, there is a Pakistani post in Sharag. Sharag was targeted. Here out they fired RPGs, the rocket-propelled grenades. Now, why am I
Major Madan, just 1 second while you bring up that slide. Can you put up that slide, please? There you go. This is the major of February 11th. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, February 11, we can see the communication from Jian Baluch, who is the official spokesperson of the BLA. So they have claimed that the beauty of this is it's not propagation. It's not a propaganda war. They're trying to show something which they have not done. It's like a clear, a military spokesperson giving an update. They're given the place, they're given the time, they're given a precise location. They have said what post has been attacked, what type of attack. Is it a sniping, or is it an IED, or it's a raid on them, or it's a area weapon used like rocket-propelled grenades or mortar attack or whatsoever it is. So they have been precise on what military action they have taken, and it's coming up regularly. And there is no counter from Pakistani army as such. So they are not saying no to it. And they don't want to really give the screen time to the Pakistani population. They can see this video, they can debate, but the fact is this is all are happening. The scale may vary from 5 to 10, but it is definitely happening. Now, February 14th.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, February 14th. So we can see this. I'll just tell you what it is. What we see right now is a Pakistani military outpost. It was a Valentine's Day gift by Pakistani army. You can see a Pakistani soldier. Now, I'll just narrate this video. What is happening. What you see out there, this post is a Pakistani post. There is a soldier who's out of who was taken down first. And now, if you look at the shooting, which is where the bullets hit, it's actually they are trying to hit precisely. Yeah, this is the place where they're trying to hit. They are not wasting their ammunition. This is the beauty of a soldier. A soldier should never waste his ammunition. So they're precise on the target. This is a 10-minute video. For the sake of time, I've edited it. Now you see. Now they have softened the targets. There is no return fire from there. Now they're blasting the thing. So people are either injured or they are either taking the shelter of the stones. This is typically called a sangar. So they are blowing up that place. Now, if you rewind and see, it's been precise. It's been dot. It requires certain amount of training, professionalism, and thing to actually do such a kind of an attack. Yeah, here we see the first one, how a soldier goes down. Now, as you look at this video, they are taking a pot shot on the soldiers who are visible, who are out without a cover. So they have been taken off. Then they have been targeting precise target shooting. So you can see the tracer. What you saw, it's you cannot actually say trace a bullet. What they used is a tracer round. So the tracer round precisely tells the soldiers who are doing this where to attack, where their bullets are hitting. So they fired a tracer round. They are targeting the post. You can see a solar panel out there. There's no electricity, so they all bank on the solar panels for their electricity needs. Now the bunker has been broken. It's not a bunker; it's a post. It's a sangar. So the post has been taken off. Now by then. So there are two options. The soldier, whoever is there, could run away downhill, which anyway they have covered already. In this operation, I cannot show you the entire video in the interest of time. So once this bunker has been blasted, now they are closing in. There's a lengthy video. They're closing in. They close in and they announce them to put their weapons, and they are not doing it. So the sniper takes one more shot, and all the 10 Pakistani soldiers are getting killed. And they took the complete control of the post, and they also take the ammunition. So yeah, this is where it is. Now you can see the BLA closing in on the same post which they attacked. Now you can see a heavy gun inside. Now you can see the Pakistani soldier towards the left side of the screen. Yeah, Atiyar, what it means is to put down his weapon. So now he is a Pakistani soldier. He is not listening. They are closed in. Now it's a close quarter battle. Now they have taken one more shot. As he has refused to do that, they have taken one more shot. And finally, it's called mopping up. These soldiers, they go in just to ensure nobody is alive and to avoid any sort of counter attack. They lob a few grenades inside the thing, and then they completely do the operation. That's how the operation comes to an end, and they pick up all the weapons and ammunitions. Now, why have I shown this video? Rather is to understand this is not just a scoot and scoot group. One guy carrying a rifle and then he throws a grenade and then he runs away. He himself is also been called a terrorist. They are becoming professional. This is a classical example of how to do an operation in a place like Baloch. We do have similar terrains in Kashmir. So this is a well-trained military operation. It's not, you can call them terrorists, you can call them rebels, whatever it is, depending on the way you see it. But they have been trained well. They are very, very professional. So in this particular operation in 𝗏𝗏, they have killed 10 Pakistani soldiers. Again, there is no rebuttal from Pakistani side. Pakistan tend to agree for 2 casualties, fatal. Now, February 14th, one more place near Nadi Bank. There they lobbed a grenade. Now this is a different operation. You lob a grenade, you run. You don't stay there, you don't launch an operation, you build up, go for an offensive. And then in Narigaj, there is a Pakistani patrol which was coming in. They did a scoot and scoot attack. They ambushed them. They fired at them. They destroyed the vehicle. They took the ammunition and then they ran away. Now, if you see all this, there is a RPG attack. They're able to use mortars effectively. They're able to raid a FC post. The raid was so superb. You can see all the 10 people who went in, they came alive. So there's not even a single injury to them. Now you're seeing them, the scoop and scoop attack, hit and run. They're completely doing all sort of operations in a military textbook. Now on February 16th, there's a place called Bolan and there's a place called 𝗏𝗏𝗳𝘏. In 𝗏𝗏𝗳𝘏, a Pakistani army, 2 Pakistani army persons got killed. That was basically by a sniper action. And in Bolan, they did a classical ambush. Now, ambush again requires a lot of training. The terrorists in the northeast, they had a special expertise in ambushing the Indian army. So we did suffer a lot of casualties. Similarly, they are using every possible thing. It's not at the standard template. They're like fidayins. They go blow themselves up and then damage a military post. It doesn't work that way. They've been able to precisely use a very specific military operation for a very specific cost. Now, all this 9 operations which we saw it's a spectrum of operation starting from a lone wolf attack, going all the way to a full-fledged military attack on this thing. Now we will see a counter action on a Pakistani death squad leader. Pakistan employs death squad. So death squad basically are like thugs and criminals, or they are terrorists, ex-terrorists, who are hired for a specific purpose to kill a specific individual or a person. So whom you see in the screen, his name is Habib Shah. Habib Shah was an ex-Balochi. So he defected from BLA. Then ISA picked him up, made him a death squad commander. So he had killed a couple of civilians and he had killed a couple of youngsters who were propagating them, who were in the schools. So BLA wanted to take a revenge. Now see this, this is again a very different one. What all we saw were all in the hill terrain, in Hindi they call it a Padi Ilaka, right? The Padi area. So we have solved those kind of operations. Now this one is classic in the city. He was picked up, he was identified, he was with his bodyguards. Now this vehicle you see is what he was been using. In a place called Shakir Hotel, he was having his dinner and he was coming out. They pinpoint, they took him off and they killed him. The bodyguards ran away, they got injured. Precisely this guy got killed. Now this is to send a message that yes, you are employing a death squad, which is not a conventional one, which not any professional army does. You employ thugs and goons, and then you pay them, and then to take care of your soft targets, unarmed men, unarmed children, unarmed students. So they are sending a message that we know whose your death squad is. Now this shows 2 things. One is their intelligence capability. Second is they're able to take their target in the city. Now, this is not a joke. It requires a lot of planning. It requires a lot of professionalism to execute this. So they are able to neutralize the death squad of Pakistan. The guy whom they shot is one of senior most leader who was actually killing Balochis. Now, on February 17th, again in Panjur, 2 Pakistanis were killed and 8 were injured. And this was again an attack on their patrols. So this should have been an ambush. They have encircled. They are making sure that the enemy doesn't have the reach to, go and target the people. Now, they have clearly said, now this is what is called a professional thing. Any defense spokesperson or a PRO would post something like this. So they have well-educated people. They have, they have good communicators, effective communicators. In just a slide, they are able to tell whom they killed and what they did, why they did it, and where they did it, and how many they killed. Now, this is not even done by Taliban. This is not done by Al-Qaeda or any of the so-called terrorist groups we had. None of them were this professional. BLA is slowly organizing and becoming a guerrilla group, or maybe in future, because they don't have the critical mass to become a full-fledged army. They would continue to be a guerrilla force, but very professional with minimum casualties on their side. They are very conscious about the ammunitions they use, the amount of ammunitions they use. They don't randomly shoot people. So they've been taking on targets ranging from railway lines to mobile towers to the death squad leaders, and as good as a Pakistani forward post which you saw in the video. Now, in March 21st, just a couple of days before, so there is a place called Padmaran in Kalat. So that's a place of, it's a gold mine. It's like literally a gold mine. It has got a lot of fluorides and a lot of marbles. So this Pakistani businessmen, they come, they mine it, they take the marble out of it, and then they go back to their mainland and they sell it. So these people have been cautioning them. So this is a caution which they did. What they did, they didn't kill the people. They didn't kill the civilians. They haven't killed the contractors or the workers who are working there. They have destroyed their site. They have destroyed their vehicles, and they destroyed a cellular tower to make them this thing. And they put a warning that if you continue to exploit this mineral resources which belongs to us, then possibly you will also face the same action which any other Pakistani regular force has been facing. So they have been very cautious not to become a civilian killer, which they did in 2015 and 2016. They were into severe criticism because of the civilians killing. Now they have been very calculative. They have been very pointed in telling them not to mine their marbles, and then you take them off. It's basically to cut that access of doing business or any kind of mining activities. Now, as we speak today, just 30 minutes before we came in, again in 𝗵𝗍, it's again a hotbed in a place called Sanggaon. 2 Pakistani persons have been killed while they were on patrolling. Now they are able to take them head on. They are telling them you are not safe. What happens when you repeatedly attack a military patrol is that the soldiers who are going on patrol will be under tremendous combat fatigue. When you say combat fatigue, you have to be alert all the time. You have to be carry a loaded weapon, ready to fire anytime. Now this is okay for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 2 hours of patrolling, 3 hours of patrolling. But typically in a long range patrolling, even a soldier faces a lot of fatigue. And this place is quite arid, it's quite hot. It's not a very easy place to maneuver. So they have been able to keep the enemy under constant pressure that you will be attacked while patrolling. Your logistics can be attacked. Your post also can be attacked. Now, post definitely they have the comfort of securing it. They can put better weapons to secure it. They can put a night vision device and a surveillance device to secure it. But what will you do on patrolling? Now, if a soldier has a feel that as I go on patrol, I'll be attacked. Now, this is okay for 2 days of combat, 3 days of combat. But if the soldier generally gets posted for 2 years, but 2 years, if you are undergoing this much amount of stress, it's going to take them a hell lot of combat fatigue, and that's going to cost them a lot of more lives. So they've been able to do that. As Mr. Iyer said, Barrick Gold Corporation, Toronto-based company, They have signed a deal with Pakistan of about starting their gold mines and extracting gold from Balochistan. Now, what you see on the screen is a clear worded statement or a warning issued by the BLA to the gold mining company. They say that we want Barrick Gold to stay away from Rakodik, or will go to any extent to defend Baluch motherland and its resources. They clearly say, ignoring the historical facts and ground realities, this two-nation theory. They are just not okay with two-nation theory. What happened with India and Pakistan? In fact, we have agreed and we have kind of had that acceptance in the two-nation theory. Now they are very, very clear. We are a different nation. Our history is different. Our traditions are different. We are not part of Pakistan. What you are doing actually is coming inside unauthorizedly, and you are trying to extract our gold and mineral resources, which we will not accept it. And in the end, they say, if you attempt to do this, we will take on your workers, vehicles, assets, and every possible thing. So the same warning has been given to the China as well. Now we'll have to see if Mr. Trudeau would send their army to fight against BLA, but they are very, very clear in protecting their resources. They are very, very clear in protecting their natural assets. The same thing is happening in Gowdar, one of the very important fishing port of Pakistan. So Chinese contractors and Chinese fishermen, they do a lot of illegal activities. They suck up their marine wealth, and they have been fighting up there as well. So in the last 1 month, why we went into such detail is, firstly we need to see the nature of operation. They are just not a hit and run kind of guys. They have been very particular in choosing the kind of military operation to go on their opponents. Pakistan doesn't seem to have an answer for it. Third, they are very, very careful in terms of their public relations, what they communicate. The communication comes from a single source, and they have been very, very specific in telling the world what it is. Now, Pakistan has kind of blacked it out. That's why we have to put everything out. Even the Pakistani citizens need to know what is happening there. And they have been sending clear warnings against the death squad, which Pakistan has been successfully employing, not only in Balochistan, even in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. All these places, they have the death squad. They go and kill people. It's a missing report. Nobody is accounted. And the army takes a backseat. You can't blame the army. You can't blame the Pakistani forces, paramilitary. And it's done by a hitman. So now they're able to take the hitman as well, precisely, with the precise intelligence where he has gone. He's gone for his dinner. He comes out of hotel, and then he's been finished. Now this makes BLA moving into the next level. Pakistan can't just sit and relax. They have to speak to them. There had to be a talking process. If they try to oversmart them, overpower them, what they did a couple of years before, if they try to bomb their own citizens, and be rest assured that this is going to be the Mukti Baghni 2 for Pakistan, and Pakistan will eventually split. Rather, I would say Balochistan will form as a new nation.
Thank you very much for that, concise summary of what's happening in the last 6 to 8 weeks, Major Madan. Barrick Gold. See, I sometimes, when these big corporations make announcements like this, I'm curious, Major Madan, the timing of this. It came just at the point where Bajwa needed to assert himself in a way, saying that to his own group, because there was this danger that Lieutenant Colonel Hamid and Nadeem Anjum were fighting for the next, Chief of Armed Services post. And this guy also wants one more term, one more extension. And so I think it seems very carefully timed. Sometimes, you can make a press release. It doesn't really make much. I think they may have released that 11 billion to get the monkey off their back, because it was embarrassing to see a flight completely loaded in Kuala Lumpur of people returning back to Pakistan, and then somebody saying, get off the flight, we are taking over the plane. So your thoughts on, see, a lot of generals are now retiring in Canada and in the United States. So I don't know if this is a sleight of hand. Your thoughts?
Definitely, sir. It seems more like a lip job. So they have said something. And in fact, when I was speaking to a couple of, I can't take names, when I was speaking to a couple of these people, they said that they've been told, the Barrick's agreement with Pakistan has been told to their people that, we are going to mint a lot of gold. and then we are going to become richer. And then they have this, Saudi dreams that we are going to be like Saudi and so on, so that we are going to mint a lot of gold and we are going to sell it, and Pakistan will become rich. And all these things have been happening. The fact is that it's just a signature. Now, there is no security for Pakistani personals. There is no security for Pakistani army. There is no security for the death squad even. Now, whom on earth will go and work? If a Canadian businessman like, the tycoons like Barrick, if they want to come and work, they would speak about the four pillars. They have something called a SEDEX audit. So where they think about sustainability and then people, welfare, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is not going to work. Now, these people have been given an illusion. What the Pakistani military is trying to tell their people is, yes, we have secured Baloch. We are going to the political leader who's Imran. Mr. Imran Khan has ruined the country. He has got the country into debts, and we have no longer standing in the world. Now we are coming for the rescue. We are secured Baloch. We have got this company in. Now they will mine gold and make Pakistan richer. The beauty is even their educated lot buys this logic.
They're clinging on to hope, Major. Anything is better than nothing. I think that, it's like running on fumes. Now, Major Madan, there are three ways to get the gold out. Assume that they have managed to put a massive security cordon and they have gotten it. My feeling is that they will not purify the gold there. They'll just take the thing, oxide, take it somewhere else like China and purify it there. So there are three options for them. One is go east and then south to Gwadar and take it by ocean, or go east to Quetta and then go up by CPEC into China. Third one is to go west and get into Iran and go down to Chabahar. Do you think any of these things are realistic for China? Because I think China is a consumer, assuming all this happens.
Sir, actually, if you see, even from India, where they take the ore, they mine it, they mint the gold, and then they throw off the ore, the residual soil. Now, China picks it up from India. A lot of merchants who are known to me, or friends who are known to me, they send this to China. They're still able to extract some more gold from it. So we don't have the technology. So China would have its keen eye in partnering this. But if a Canadian company does it, then it's also part of the US alliance. A lot of geopolitics things comes into play, where the US would not want Canada to do this and to take it there. But the road is not going to be secured. They may find it. Gwadar is a very remote possibility because of the logistics cost which is involved. Maybe they would try to use CPEC with the CPEC roads which are already built. They're well built and they'll be able to carry forward this. Iran for sure is not an option because westward access towards Iran, this truckers and this movement will face a very, very severe backlash from BLA.
A lot of stuff there. I mean, it's just any which way you look at it, this is all in a hilly place. You can't just say that I'm going to drive a road straight up and join into China or anything like that. It's not possible. So I wonder if cost of extraction, transportation should still justify the final product, that they should have margins. I don't know the viability of this particular endeavor. And if you say that China can extract even from the extracted sand something more, clearly there is an industry there that is wanting this stuff. So that would be the impetus. They'll try to do something. However, your thoughts on what is happening somewhere else. I think we will come back to this, viewers, the next time Major has some data, and we will come back to this. We wanted to kind of give you what is happening in Baloch area. We stand with, all these are us. Okay, we were all the same. Yeah. It is just a mess that has been created in the 70 plus years, right? So it's important for us to help them, at least emotionally tell them, look, we hear you. We are telling your story. This is your statement. We are just putting it to the world. whoever watches it, they can get the information from that. Now, Major Madan, can we stop this one and move to Sri Lanka, sir? We are about 29 minutes into our talk.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yesterday, interestingly, my favorite TV channel, NDTV, was showing some interviews of people being brought in. They actually got their own boats and they navigated their way to some island outside of Rameswaram, from where the Indian Army picked them up, and they are housed in a camp. These may be the very first visitors or refugees back, and they were just saying that there is absolutely no money, there is no food, and things are looking really bad in Sri Lanka. This is from Yarpanam area that they came. Major, you probably have more information from this. We've talked about Sri Lanka also in the past. So can you update us as to what you see happening? And surely India is going to put a stop to this, because this is not a thing where somebody is being killed or anything like that. It is just the sheer poverty that is driving them.
Absolutely. Like what is happening, Sri Lanka, as this downfall of their economy started way back in 2019, even before the COVID started. So their forex was going down, and it's because of the Easter church blast. The tourism went down from 2018 to 19, if you see the data. So that's where the downfall started. This small nation gets a lot of forex, the dollars inside through tourism. And the primary tourist, population, basically they all come from Europe, Russia, and all these places. They find that place to be attractive. So after the Easter bomb blast, a lot of countries issued travel advisory to them. So the tourism business took a hit. Then came the second major blow, which is COVID first wave, the coronavirus. They went into lockdowns, and then the second wave came in. They were just not able to manage. They went into severe lockdowns, and their public health system literally collapsed. Then they deployed army to manage this. In fact, the entire vaccination and stuff was actually managed by the army, the Sri Lankan army. And then when India went and gave Covishield, so these guys decided to go, especially Mr. Rajapaksa and his family, they decided to go with Sinopharm vaccine, the Chinese vaccine. And then their vaccination program also failed. In the middle, somewhere in 2021 start, Mr. Rajapaksa gave a very interesting and a very bold speech in UN. He said Sri Lanka is going to be the first country which is going to go 100% organic. Whatever we produce will be organic. Let it be the tea, which is a very, very important export, spices, tea and spices. He said we are going to make everything. The world should learn from us. Move away from fertilizers, move away from the traditional pesticides and so. Now, this was absolutely foolish. And there was nobody else in Sri Lanka to go and tell him this is not going to happen. This happened when the Sri Lankan farmers are actually going for a reap. Absolute 100% ban on import of chemical fertilizers, 100% ban on import of pesticides. Now, this transition of organic to non-organic to organic takes a lot of time. Secondly, the world, a lot of people have a myth that the world should go for 100% organic. It is just not possible. Today's population of the world is more than 750 crore. And if you need 100% organic, we need to have the land size, agricultural land parcel, thrice what we have. We don't have that. It's impossible. Organic becomes premium. It's going to be a premium food in the future, or you can grow your own way of this thing. It's not going to give the productivity. Now, when this happened, they started importing food, and their spices and condiments export stopped. It literally stopped. They started importing food. They started importing vegetables. Your forex is already just not existing. Then you wanted to go for 100% organic farming. Over a period of 1 year, they literally stopped all the imports. They imported organic manure, organic soil from China. China eventually gave them human excreta. That, the story which came in, and then they rejected it. And then they paid some money to send that ship back. So they don't want to take with toxins and everything. And they were not ready to give up also. So they messed up with their domestic agriculture. They started importing. And to top it all, in the end of last year, just before the end of last year, To beat this, they said because there is a political pressure, people are cutting across the spectrum, they are all angry. Then he put the entire blame on the traders who import. They said, no, you guys are hoarding it. Because of hoarding, the price rise happens. Then a major general of Sri Lankan army was appointed, and then he was told to monitor it. Now you showed a different enemy. Now the traders who were trading in dollars, they're paying high. So they don't want to give that thing. So they also started importing less. And a couple of them were arrested, their goods were raided, and they were being told they were actually demonized. When such a thing happens, the least you can do is to go and print currencies. Now these guys went and printed currencies. Now that led to a massive rise in inflation. What today we see, a kg of chicken costs around 1,500 kgs. Anything is less than nothing less than 300 rupees. And the tourism has still not developed. They have defaulted on their oil bills. They are defaulted on their gas bills. So literally there is no gas available, cooking gas available. So people have been told to grow their own food, and people have been told to use conventional, quote unquote, conventional form of cooking, which is basically cutting down trees, using that bark to, it's an old way of cooking. Now, in this scenario, why we are getting refugees, especially from north and east, basically the Tamils from the Elam, is because within the country, the maximum resources get siphoned off in south and west, where the Sinhalese live the most. Now, the north and east has already been left high and dry, and there is a logistics cost which happens. So now the cost between south and north is anywhere up between 30 to 40%. And from north and east, they extract the marine wealth, they extract the forest wealth, but they don't give anything in return, which is basically within the country, one part of the country is importing from the other part of the country. So that's a scenario so they don't have a livelihood. So the least they can do, the last thing they can do is to pick up a boat, reach the nearest place, which is Rameshwaram, and enter India and take a refugee status. Till date, we have got 15 Sri Lankans. Most of them are kids and children, women and children. So they have been rescued from an island near Rameshwaram by the Indian Coast Guard. They've been handed over to the civil police. Now, I think quickly we need to look at the refugee policy as such. As of now, they've been housed in a refugee camp in Mandapam, Rameshwaram.
Now, will the $1 billion loan help in this?
Sir, it's a stopgap. It's a stopgap. This is a credit line which has been given. Now they have to pay for it. And secondly, what I could understand, their finance minister came to Delhi. First time he went empty-handed, and second time he again came in. What I am get to understand is that PM Modi's government has been very, very strict, or very they've tightened the screws this time. That this is not going to be a free money. It's not an aid or a bailout. It's a credit line. So this will temporarily fix their hunger problems. People have been eating half. If the way it goes, in the current scenario, if it goes, people would be left with 1 meal a day, which happened in India in 1960s. So to avoid that kind of a scenario, India is helping them. So this aid would somehow make it suffice for the next 30 to 50 days or so, as far as the basic food is concerned. But India has put a condition that this has to reach the north and east, where the Tamil population also lives. It cannot be happen so that you take care of the majority Sinhalese and leave the minorities out. So the even distribution has to be done. That's what India has clearly told them. But how it will be enforced, what the question is.
I don't think we have any questions today. I just want to sort of perhaps wrap up this talk. Major Madan is already feeling the heat from Chennai.
I'm in Coimbatore, sir. I'm in Coimbatore.
So Coimbatore is this hot? Oh my goodness.
Chennai seems to be better, but Coimbatore is also getting heated up. I think some cyclone disturbance it's sucked up.
I see. Yeah, Coimbatore usually doesn't get hot. That's why. So I'm going to be in your neck of the woods in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm going to be looking the same way. So, Major, so this Barrick Gold appears to be fool's paradise, fool's gold, or something like that, to try and re-establish the establishment as the one who's going to make Pakistan prosperous. I understand that. Now play this thing out for the next couple of weeks. Pakistan is actually shut down for 3-4 days. Believe it or not, viewers, it is shut down. And the activity is going to pick up on the 27th and the 28th. There's going to be one Julus by one side, the other side will come the next day. Now, in your opinion, and I'm not going to hold you to this, who do you think is going to be the next general of COAS, the chief of COAS? Because that's the one who's going to be running the country.
See, it has got two things. One, the fate of Imran Khan. A lot of people, my good friends across the border, they did a kind of a friendly bet with me that Pakistan's Imran would be the first prime minister who would complete the term. Nobody has ever done it. Now, the fact is, there's one who has knocked Imran out. Is it the opposition, Nawaz's daughter-led opposition, or is it the Pakistani army? If the people perception is Pakistani army, then General Bajwa would be getting one more extension. If the perception is the opposition parties, which is second in command, is next in rank, is also supporting, he would possibly be taking over it, and General Bajwa may become the president of Pakistan. They're not going to, they're power angry people, they're not going to leave anything for a chance. And one will take an exile. Now, whether it is Imran Khan or is it General Bajwa, that's a question. For sure, one will take an exile. Their favorite destination is Emirates. So this is how the entire thing. It's never been a democracy. They've never ever grown up as a democracy. This is the plight of the people there. And just before concluding it, one update from the western borders of Pakistan. In the Afghan-Pakistan border, where we spoke about the famous, the cup of tea which the ISI chief was holding.
𝗿𝗲𝗳𝘂𝗵, yeah.
Yeah, all is good. All is going to be good. It is not good for them. Balochis are getting a solid support from Afghan. They are getting a solid support from 𝗿𝗵𝗳𝗃𝗃 Taliban, Pakistani. One of the most important commander of 𝗿𝗵𝗃 Taliban was shot dead in Kandahar, very, very close place to Kandahar. Now, Talibans, the real Talibans of Afghanistan, they have pointed their guns, the heavy guns, artillery guns, towards the Pakistani border. Now, something may come up. Their guns have been primed. They're ready to fire on Pakistan. What they thought that, the strategic buffer zone for me, and I'm a very narrow country, I love a buffer zone, I have an extended border, so I'm going to control it remotely. That is not working fully. Talibans, in fact, if you see a press release from them, they said that Indian wheat is far better, we are able to eat it. The Pakistani wheat which you show, it's better you don't send it. So that's the kind of thing they have. They are facing pressure with Taliban, with the various factions which they're trying to control. They're also facing pressure with Iran. They've openly warned Iran about Baloch. Now, Baloch is not just about Pakistan. The BRAS, Balochi Raj Ajoy Sangad, is basically the Balochis who are in Pakistan, the Balochis who are in Iran, Afghanistan. The four nations, it's about the larger conglomeration. So the Balochis across the border, which is Iranians and the Iranian border force, they are also becoming hostile to Pakistan. Now, this is very, very complex, and they have and the last thing they can have is a political turmoil of the mid of all this, political instability. The country has been blessed with this for the deeds which they have done. Let's see, sir, how this progresses.
Yes, indeed. And if you look at history, Musharraf is sitting in US. I believe either in US or in Canada. I'm not 100% sure. He has some family here. I was the last general to escape alive, I suppose. Being the prime minister or president, whatever you want to call him. I mean, 𝗍𝗏𝗪 didn't have that luck. He took down even the US ambassador with him. Very sad. I think Bajwa, they will be even listening to this. He's probably better off just leaving the country and let Faiz Hamid take over and let him run the whole thing and see what happens. But important thing is, I didn't ask you this far, but I'm going to ask you now because we didn't have a conversation online. Was that missile really? Did it really lose its way, or was it to show something?
We really have to go with the official statement, sir. So there's like two things which we can say with the Pakistani side of it. The missile has been fired from Sirsa. From Sirsa, it has been. It's actually going to Pokhran, which is Mahajan field firing ranges. If you see all this, the Mahajan field firing ranges, for sure, I've been there personally during my military times. That's a place where the aircrafts test their rockets, the heavy guns, the tanks, the T-72s, T-90s, Bofors, the rocket launchers, and so on and so. But just think, from a thickly populated Sirsa is hardly any distance from Delhi. From there, if you take a flight path, any flight which takes off from Delhi, which move towards the Western nations, Dubai and beyond, to your place, and it's a very, very thickly populated area. The margins and suffer, definitely the range is in the desert. But en route, you have got a very, very thickly populated area. The NATOM which is given on any missile release is always on the eastern coast. Odisha and Andamans,
yes,
and Sri-Lanka. So these are the places where we fire because we got a range. It's quite amount of range which is available. It's the ocean. We give a NOTAM, and then we inform the respective countries about the flight path, what height the missile is going to be fired, so that none of the civilian aircrafts are touched. But in this case, will a missile be fired? 99.99%, it was not fired. It was not fired from a static base. India would not be that much of fool to do it from a static base. Definitely, it's a vehicle-mounted one. We can interfere. And this is not the usual missile testing path. That's what my point is. The Pakistani radars have picked up good. They have explained it nicely. They were matured enough in handling the situation. But it's impossible to do such even in a mock drill or even in a test case scenario, it cannot be done. What we get to hear today is they have been inquiring about this missile handled by a group captain level officer of the Indian Air Force. But definitely in that case, they are going to fix some accountability because this is a very, very serious issue. The missile was not primed or it was not armed. And another thing which I heard from my friends who are in the missile regiments who are already retired, so they said it's not always one missile. You don't fire a single missile. In that, even it gets actuated, it's a couple of missiles which will get actuated. So there is a manual power cut-off option. If something goes wrong like this, you tend to switch off the other 4. It should have been 5. It's not one missile which takes off and goes and lands there. But this is like, I think time will have to answer this. Maybe down 10-15 years when things get declassified, we can have a talk on what is happening. But it's not a regular, usual thing, which is like it's just a missile which got fired and suddenly it took a right turn, went into 125 kilometers inside Pakistan.
Yeah. So my 2 cents on this, Major, is you have to wait for 2-3 months and see, because now the passages will again start opening up between POK and India. And by April, May, let's say, if there is reduced traffic, if there is reduced tension, the message has gone now. So
actually,
we have to see.
We'll have to wait till the snow melts.
Right. So thank you very much, Major Madan. It was a wonderful conversation. We really saw a movie kind of stuff. A lot of questions for you. Nothing important. One wanted to know if you have watched the Kashmir files, and if you did, 2-minute summary, and then we'll call it a wrap.
I chose not to watch that movie, sir, because a lot of my friends, my colleagues who are in army, my good friends are Kashmiris. They're Kashmiri Pandits. So we used to see this movie, literally hearing from them way back in 2004, 2003 when we were in the military academy. We have heard this much more. Actually, I've seen clippings of this movie. People have shared it with me. They have shown those killings. It's very emotional. Nobody comes happy after seeing the movie. Any human being. But what they have actually shown in the movie is just maybe I would say 20-25% of what has actually happened. It was much more brutal.
That is the truth. Yeah, that is the truth.
It cannot. The Indian audience cannot handle it. Maybe the director would have thought of it. They have portrayed few scenes like the rice bag and all, the rice barrel where the guy steps in and everything. So this is all real. It has all happened. So my only thing is like it's been told to us. We have studied this as part of our military lessons. We have discussed it with the real life people, my course mates. We have discussed a lot. Couple of my friends who serve in army, their parents, they were the first-hand evidence witness to say all this, narrate this. It was pretty bad. One thing is like any demographic change, by force or by wish or by any way, by any means, by money or by any means, that is going to literally ruin a country. We can keep talking about it. We can see Kosovo. We can see how the Russian Federation fell off. Hundreds of examples. People have to coexist. People have to coexist peacefully. If there is a forced demographic change, and that place is going to be a hell forever. And that's what has been happening in Kashmir even till now.
And see, one of the things, Major, that is of concern to me is the Assistant Secretary of State of United States was giving an update to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee in the United States. We United US citizens, we can't solve our problems, but we will weigh in on somebody else's problems. So here what he said was, of the four things he said, actually he's actually an Indophile, in my opinion. He's a pretty, he's got his marbles right. But one of the things he said was that we are very strongly encouraging the Indian government to conduct elections in Jammu and Kashmir. So the question that I ask is, look, 500,000 people have been displaced. And instead of trying to reclaim their property, take out Roshni Act and all that stuff, why not create Panun Kashmir and tell them this is the cordoned area and there nobody else comes in? The point there is that we are saying, look, we have to do justice for every Indian, not just some. And then the others say, you wait, we will. 32 years have already elapsed. So this part hasn't actually come into the narrative. I don't know if the government thought about it, because the Kashmiri Pandit said, look, give us some land. Call it our land. Nobody can come in there. And, Kashmir has vast expanse of land. It's not like it doesn't have it. Right? So I don't know why that choice hasn't entered into the, people's psyche. And also, a lot of people are unhappy that 2011 census has been used to demark even the new, seat allocation. And they said 1981 is more accurate. And for those of you who say
1981 is a reference, that's where this entire genocide happened. That's where the actual reference point is. I'll remove certain amount of people by force or by terror or by acts of terror, and then I take a new reference of 2011. And that's not going to be the right way of looking at things.
So all I'm telling Indian government is, you have to do good by Indians. Don't worry about what US will say. US will have something to say. There are 40 people sitting in the Biden administration who just want to find problems. They have nothing else to do. And if I try to call them, they won't even pick up the phone. They know Sri Iyer is calling. I ignore. Whatever. So the point I'm trying to say is, you have to do good by the Indians. I don't know if this will ever get solved that way or not. But let's wait and see. Thank you so much, Major Madan. I've been saying bye for a couple of times now, but we've been talking about different things. But again, we'll be back again in a few weeks' time with updates on both these topics. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Sir Jain.